Olivia from BCS, and I'm joined today by some of our guests who are studying and or working in technology. And if you're trying to figure out your future, then maybe we can help. Over the next sort of 20 minutes or so, we're going to be providing some insight into the different routes into technology, specifically apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships, and university. So thanks to all three of you for joining us. It would be great if we could just start with some introductions. So if you could just tell us your name and what you're currently doing in terms of jobs or education, that would be brilliant. Patrick, if you don't mind kicking us off.
So hi everyone, I'm Patrick. I'm currently undergoing a degree apprenticeship in technology. So my undergrad degree is in digital and technology solutions. And on a day-to-day basis, I'm currently working as a technologist in the investment bank in London.
Thanks very much. And Holly, how about you?
So I am a current final year computer science student at Brunel University, London.
Thanks very much. And Alex?
Hello everyone, I'm Alex Burns, a senior cybersecurity engineer working at Jacobs. I've done three apprenticeships since leaving school, and yeah.
Thanks very much. So Alex, if we start with you, what kind of attracted you to the apprenticeship route? Why did you go forward with that route yourself?
Well, I left school with no GCSEs, and I was kind of thinking, how can I get back into college and do the GCSEs that I wanted to, that I didn't get the options in school? So I was like, okay. So seeing an advertisement for an apprenticeship, a level 2 customer service apprenticeship, and you get an MVQ, which is like the equivalent to like 2 GCSEs, and that would help me get back into college. So I thought, well, I might as well, pursue that. So I got some work experience. I think within 6 months I'd completed my MVQ and a BTEC qualification. That helped me get into college. And from there, I was able to do the GCSEs that I wanted. Done quite well in the college, and yeah. And then once completing like the second year, funny enough, when I was getting me results, a guy handed me a flyer, Mark Fitzgerald from 3A's, and it was for an IT apprenticeship. And because I'd already got a vast experience due to hobbies and stuff like that in terms of technology, I thought, yeah, I'm going to pursue this. So that's what got me onto my level 3 apprenticeship. Obviously the kind of pros and cons to it were like, to me, there were no cons. It was like gain qualifications, gain experience, get paid. So I was like, fantastic, gonna smash this. So obviously done that, smashed it, and then went on and done my level 4 apprenticeship. So obviously at the time it was the Trailblazers BCS level 4 network engineering apprenticeship. So I was like, amazing. I'm doing network engineering as a job and working, I might as well, be one of the first people to do this. So I just knuckled down, smashed all the exams and the lab and stuff like that, and obviously became the first person in the country to have completed it. I think I was the first to do in all digital sector. So I was, obviously really kind of proud to have done that, considering I left school with no GCSEs to then now become something that no one else has done. It was a great experience for me, and obviously it just proves that, like, if you focus and you understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you're determined to succeed, I think no matter what you will do, if that's an apprenticeship or a degree, I think it's important to just know exactly what you want to do in your career and where you want to go. Because without that, it's like, well, where's my head's at? Where am I gonna move forward? What am I interested in? What what do I enjoy doing? I think if you find a subject that you enjoy, so for me it was network engineering, and obviously focusing on the specific technologies that were in that type of space. And then obviously now I'm working in cybersecurity, so branched out into a new sector. And obviously working in this sector is really where my passion lies as well. So I think development is almost like a tree. You've got to build that foundation of where you want to go and what you want to do, and then that branches out into other different areas. I think that's really important. If you are leaving school, have a good think about what are you interested in, what you enjoy doing, because the end goal is you don't want to be in a job that you don't enjoy in the future. You want to really enjoy what you're doing and be passionate about it. I think that's my key takes.
Thank you, Alex. That's great. And I think such a good sort of aspirational story to see that, you know, you didn't do the greatest at school, but it doesn't mean that necessarily because, you know, your GCSEs don't turn out the way that you wanted to, that, you know, that's the end of all your sort of future opportunities. There's so much more out there for anyone from any background. So that's really good to hear. Patrick, you chose to do the degree apprenticeship. What kind of attracted you to that option? Why did you go forward with that one?
So I think with the degree apprenticeship, I was interested in going to university full-time to study computer science, but I also really wanted the practical aspect of day-to-day work. So I think being able to merge the two worlds of studying for a degree and working, literally applying that degree in my day-to-day work, was literally an immense opportunity for me that I thought would be extremely suited to me. And I think personally, I think with regards to computer science and technology is always changing so fast, and it's often hard to keep up for individuals. So I believe that working within the industry and working day to day in financial technology would help me in keeping up to date with that technology. But also, I think the general feeling of an apprenticeship is that it gives you the best of all worlds, to be fair. So with the degree apprenticeship, I avoided the university debt, and I'm also getting paid to work. So I thought that was literally the best option for me and something that would, I guess, propel me throughout my career.
That's great, thank you. And Holly, you chose the degree route. So what was it about the sort of university and undergraduate degree that kind of attracted you to that way?
So I think the biggest thing about going to university is the like the university culture. So I wanted to move out in a nice controlled way where I'm in an environment with everyone else who is in the same situation as me, where we've all been thrown into a flat together and none of us have lived on our own, and we learn how to cook, how to look after ourselves, learn how to sort our own schedule out, like going to bed, waking up, and the fact that you can just leave the house without needing to tell anyone where you're going. I don't recommend it, but like that's a thing that you can do. And for me, that was like the freedom that I wanted to get by going to university. Yeah, I just wanted to fully immerse myself in the course that I was doing, and the people that were there, and the fact that when you're at university, there's like a lot of research going on all of the time, and it's just around you. So you could be talking to one of the lecturers and then they'd be saying something which is like really cutting edge, and like a paper that will come out like the following year about it. No, that's just just the immersion of being in the material, basically.
Yeah, and it's a full sort of life experience, isn't it? You're sort of
Yeah.
living and breathing the whole experience, like night and day, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And now we'll just find out a bit about how you kind of came across or found the different opportunities that you chose. So, Alex, how did you come across the apprenticeship opportunity? Was it recommended to you, or did you see it online, or how did you kind of come across it?
Well, for my first apprenticeship, I found it online. So I think at the time it was like snowing and it was like December, and I was looking online for, you know, what could help me get into college, and then come across this and emailed them, spoke to them on the phone, and then at the time I was going to an interview with them, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to make it. The trains are going to be like called off because of this snow. But I managed to make it eventually, and yeah, I think after talking to them, they seen that I was quite passionate about where I wanted to move forward and stuff, and yeah, that gave me the opportunity to go onto the level 2 customer service apprenticeship. So then the level 3, that was, like I said earlier, I was handed a flyer in when I was getting me results, and then I called them and I went for an interview, and because at the time I was a carer for my uncle, and his house, he's got his own like disabled unit built on the back of my nan's house where I was living at the time. And at the time I was doing a lot of research into how can we use a 802.11 5 gigahertz frequency bridge between the main house and his house so that he could get internet access, because I think Virgin Media was saying that they needed to come out and put a new line in and all that because it was classed as a new address. So I ended up getting into it that way. So I've been doing network engineering since I was like 15, designing network topologies, looking into protocols and all that type of stuff. So after the interviews, you know, he just basically said to me on the day that the person who interviewed me was the guy who gave me the leaflet, Mark. So he just said, you know, you're perfect for this. Come join the level 3 apprenticeship. And I think it was IT, and you've done like 2 diplomas. And obviously, at the time, I didn't have a job, I didn't have a placement. So as part of that process, I got my opportunity to work at Stack Interconnect as a network engineer or network technician at the time. And then obviously because of my performance on the apprenticeship and the modules and stuff that I'd done and the work quality, that they thought I was perfect to go on to the level 4, and that's how it led on to the level 4 apprenticeship. So yeah, it started online, and then it was a leaflet, and then it was just through progress. So I think that's how I got to complete me level 4.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Alex. And how about you, Patrick? Tell us your story. How did you kind of find your degree apprenticeship? Was it something you were looking for? And what was your kind of application process like?
Yeah, so I guess my searching journey kind of started towards the beginning of year 12. So going into year 12, obviously everyone's thinking about A levels, kind of the stuff that they'd like to do next, and so on. And I had been doing a bit of research about apprenticeships generally because my dad had mentioned it previously, because he was a kind of a tutor, so he'd spoken with lots of uni students and was looking at different options in comparison to uni. So he mentioned a degree apprenticeship, and during year 12 I started looking, and I was literally searching the internet probably almost every week, looking for different apprenticeships, degree, master's apprenticeships, level 3, level 4. I'm just searching the internet to see what's out there. And I then stumbled across, well, I didn't stumble because I was searching pretty hard, but I came across the different range of degree apprenticeships, which was the level 6 degree apprenticeship. So I decided that looking at all of that and looking at what that offers, it would be perfect for me. So I decided to go for that one. And then that led me on to start looking at companies that I'd like to work for and companies that I'm interested in. So because I'm interested in technology, and like I mentioned before, technology is so huge and technology is everywhere. I decided that I'd look specifically at financial services companies because I'd like to see how technology is applied in finance. But I was also looking at other companies like pure technology companies like the Googles and so on. And throughout that search, all I was doing was literally going on the internet day to day, typing in level 6 degree apprenticeship. I was using the government website that all came massively in hand, and other websites that I found extremely useful as well. And like I mentioned, I think the core thing was literally going into the internet and searching level 6 degree apprenticeship program, or going to specific company websites that I'm interested in and looking to see if they have apprenticeships on offer. And I think you also asked me about what the general process was like. So with regards to that, generally, when I applied, it was literally a CV or application form, which was then followed on by a video interview. And that was probably one of the weirdest experiences because it was literally me looking in the camera, speaking to myself and looking at my facial expressions while answering questions. So it was definitely a unique experience, but it was definitely something that built my character massively. And I think that was probably undergoing video interviews was definitely something that massively helped me in my journey. Once you'd completed the video interview, you'd also undergo psychometric tests. So for those who don't know, psychometric tests are weird questions about pretty much random things, but it's all about testing your brain, all about testing your problem solving ability and so on. So you may have, for example, 4 different shapes, and then you have to pick which shape resembles the picture of an initial shape that you were shown. So generally stuff like that, things that will engage your brain and stuff like that. So that was the main purpose of that psychometric testing. Once that was done, you'd go on to, it varies across different companies, but you go into either a second round interview, an assessment center. Yeah, a second round interview or an assessment center. So the second round interview may be in person, so you actually go in, speak to the people they're actually going to work with and the HR managers and so on, or an assessment center where it's literally a day of you connecting with random people, being given a task and trying to complete it. And I think the main aim of that assessment center is to test your team working skills, how you collaborate with people who you've never met before, and your leadership skills, and just testing out the key competencies to determine whether you're a suitable candidate for that company. And I think for my application process, it did vary because it was all during the coronavirus time. So it was literally a super weird experience and everything was online. So I did my first round of video interviews online, but then I also had to do face-to-face interviews on a Zoom with actual people as well. And then for my specific apprenticeship, I had to deliver a presentation online. So when it went onto the online experience, it was something that I didn't expect, but it was definitely an experience that I quite enjoyed and it was quite interesting as well.
Thank you, Patrick. That was a really good illustration of your experience. You put that across really well. Thank you. And Holly, how about you? How did you kind of choose your degree course and your university, and what was your application process like?
So I knew that I wanted to do computer science, and I knew that I wanted to be far away enough from home to feel independent, but close enough so that I could go home at the weekend if I didn't feel very well. And I also wanted a London uni because I liked the idea of the transport links to make me even more independent, because I come from the middle of the countryside where a bus comes once every hour. So the thought of a bus coming every 10 minutes was bliss. So yeah, I went on to which university, and you can organise it. That's a website, and you can organise it by what course you're going to do and like the location and stuff. And I saw that Brunel's course had a module with robots in it, and I like robots, so that was a tick in a box. And also that it has really good links with industry, because they highly encourage you to do a placement year, which is basically where in between your second and your final year, you spend a year at a company as a software engineer or whatever you apply for. So I worked for McAfee for a year as a technical intern, so up in Aylesbury in their offices for a year, and it was such a good experience. And then so basically I found I got told all of this from my sixth form, how to apply and everything. So basically you apply through a website called UCAS. So that's the only way you could apply to university. You don't write into them. So you find 5 courses from any university in the UK that you like, and you apply through UCAS. And the application involves a cover letter, like a personal statement written by you, and a statement written by someone else. Mine was my sixth form tutor. He wrote a statement and it got put on UCAS. And then the universities that you apply for look at your personal statement and the statement from your other person, and they either give you an offer or they don't. And the offer is basically, on results day, if you hit these grades, you can come to this university. So when you get your offers back, you then have to choose a firm choice and a backup choice out of the 5 courses that you've chose. So obviously my firm choice was Brunel, my backup was University of East Anglia, I think. And so basically on results day, if you meet the grades of your first choice, your firm offer, you go to that university, or it automatically does it for you, right? And if you don't match the grades for your firm choice, but you do match your grades for your backup choice, then you go to your backup university. If you don't match the grades for either of them, then you go through a process called clearing, where basically you call up every single university that you think you might want to go to, and you go, hi, hello, I have these grades, do you have a place for me? So basically, if you didn't fail your A-levels or your BTECs, there will be a university that will take you, because they usually lower their grades at clearing just to fill the spaces that they have left. So yeah, it can be a stressful application process if it doesn't go to plan. But I was confident that no matter what, I would get into a university with whatever grades that I got. So yeah.
Yeah, and you got your firm choice, so it worked out well.
Yes.
That's great. Thanks, Holly. And now we just have a question about kind of how you like to learn and how you like your sort of working and learning environment to be. So, Alex, how would you describe your learning style? I know you said that you kind of been working on networks at home and kind of had gained that experience already, so you're really passionate about that. And so maybe you learn by sort of just experimenting yourself, or yeah, how would you sort of describe your learning style, and how did the apprenticeship fit in with that?
So my learning style is very much physical, hands-on. So for instance, I like to get a router or a switch physically and connect it all up and you know, visualize it. So when I was in college doing my GCSEs, I found out that I had dyslexia and dyscalculia. So basically that probably explains why I was a bit of a a naughty kid in school, you know, so I didn't really grasp it all. But, you know, I think going back to what Holly mentioned before, it's, yeah, when you're in school, your GCSEs and your A levels and all that, they're not the be all and end all. So, for instance, I weren't very good in school and I didn't get GCSEs, but there's always something out there for someone to achieve and continue their development. I know a lot of kids in school who struggle with dyslexia. They might, you know, think that, oh, I don't understand English. How am I gonna, you know, move on if I don't get an English C in GCSE or whatever it is, or maths? You know, I think I done my level 2 in English and maths when I was on my level 3 apprenticeship. So, I think opportunities are out there for everyone who've got, you know, multiple different ways of learning. My learning process is very much like, I'd prefer to go watch a YouTube video on how to configure a piece of equipment and then just go and do it, you know, or for instance, learn virtualization or something. I'll go look it up. How do I do this? What do I need to do it? Download the software, run whatever ISOs I wanna do, and then do some testing and stuff like that. So I went through a phase when I was younger of like downloading. Well, actually, my hard drive, because I dropped my laptop or something, the hard drive just completely died. I was like, okay, what am I gonna do here? So I bought a new hard drive, stuck it in my laptop, and then started learning Linux. So Linux Ubuntu, Linux Mint. There's many flavors of Linux. So I started learning to do that, and some of my assignments when I was on one of my apprenticeships were in LibreOffice. So everyone was like, "What the hell's this? Like, what is Libre?" I was like, "Well, I haven't got Microsoft Office, so I actually use this." But you know, I think everyone's different in the way they learn. Some people are brilliant. Give them a book, they can read it, they can study it, and they can learn the ins and outs of that book. Me, do not give me a book. I'll launch it back at your head. So, you know, tell me, okay, you need to know X, Y, Z, and I'll learn X, Y, Z. I'll find a method of learning it. But I think some people are different, and I think there's a saying, isn't he, like, what is it, fishing monkey climb a tree or something? I don't know, you might know it. But
yeah, it's something like, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree or something, then yeah, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Everyone's different. Everyone's got, you know, I've got learning difficulties, but did I let that stop me? No. Anyone can succeed in whatever they want to do. It's just down to your motivation, your determination, and finding ways to cope with whatever ways you learn best. Also, explain that to your universities or your apprenticeship provider. My apprenticeship provider provided me a lot of support with around my dyslexia. Like, I'd get extra time, you know, a reader, and some of the certifications that I've got post apprenticeship. I've got support through me for dyslexia. So it's like, there's always support out there, but also considering that apprenticeships and degrees nowadays, they're not the only option as well, because I know people who, if, say, for instance, someone wants to gain access to a job in cybersecurity, and they do a lot of hack the box labs, they build their own lab, they've done loads of capture the flag events, they've got certifications, because you don't have to have a degree or GCSEs or A levels to do certifications. And since my apprenticeship, I've gained many certifications, but yeah, apprenticeships, amazing, and they've got me to where I am today, and Holly would vouch that, you know, degrees and, you know, they're a fantastic way of going into the industry that you want to go into. But all education aside, if you've got the motivation to learn and you know how to learn with your coping mechanisms and whatever ways you prefer to learn, hands-on, visual, kinesthetic, semantic, you know, I think there's opportunity out there if it's an apprenticeship, if it's a degree, you know, if it's do some certifications, you know. I know a guy who he was working in a coffee shop, one of the smartest guys I've come across. He's got an abundance of knowledge in all different areas of cybersecurity, and he's got his first job in cybersecurity without a degree, without an apprenticeship. You know, just got a couple of certifications, and he's got that passion, because that's what employers look for. They look for the passion. They look for, you know, the drive, the motivation. You know, you've got to love what you're doing. But yeah, I think I just went off on one. Nice. So I'll let anyone else talk now.
No, that's good. Thanks, Alex. And Patrick, how about you? How would you describe the way you kind of like to learn, and how does that fit in with your degree apprenticeship?
Yeah, I think Alex literally summed it up best. I think kind of similar to him in the sense that I'm more of a practical learner. So I like to, I guess, as opposed to solely like reading books, I like to literally apply what I've learned. That's why I think I mentioned previously that this was literally perfect for me, because I'd go into university, study something on the day. The next day, I'd probably come into work and I have access to people who I can ask about what I've learned at university. But also, if given a chance, I can also apply what I've learned at university in my day-to-day role. So I think being a practical learner is something that definitely really pushed me more so towards the apprenticeship route, because it literally gave me the opportunity to just do what I kind of enjoy, and just be active and do what I've learned and put into practice as well. And I think for me, the best way to learn is to put things into practice, and that's with most things across my life. So I think that's one of the reasons why a degree apprenticeship was best for me.
Thank you, Patrick. And Holly, for you, when you're at uni, do you how is the learning environment for you? What kind of activities do you do, and how does that kind of suit how you like to learn?
So I'm going to throw a spanner in the works and say that I'm also a practical learner. And I specifically chose a course that was had a far higher coursework percentage than a lot of other courses, like degree courses. So basically at university, there are kind of like three kind of learning environments that you have. So you got lectures, which is someone standing at the front of like a theatre with a big PowerPoint on the wall, and you're sitting there watching, writing notes, and he may throw some questions out into the room. And that's normally just to like introduce a topic, and then you get reading, throw the book in our face, reading, and we have to go away and we have to read. Some people don't read, but yeah, you go away and read. And then you have seminars, which is like your more traditional classroom environment, where you are talking amongst your table about whatever topic is going on. And for my course, I have labs. So we go into the computer room, and from the lecture, so like a couple days after the lecture, we would have a lab, and that is basically you just work through like a worksheet, putting into practice what you've learned from the lecture. So it's, I guess, quite a lot more structured than I think a degree, no, an apprenticeship would be. So it's like an extension of traditional education. But as I said, my course has a lot of coursework, and people might go, "Oh, coursework," but it's literally just applying what you've learned to a piece of work that will get graded and go towards your degree.
It's essentially what an apprenticeship is, because also an apprenticeship really is that, say, when I was doing my level 3, for instance, I'd work 1 week in the office, 1 week in the academy. So it'd be very much like what you're talking about, Holly. You know, you'll do a presentation, or you've got to research something and answer some questions, do quizzes, all that type of stuff. So in essence, an apprenticeship is basically structured similar. But, you know, when you're looking at a campus university, you know, big lecture halls, you don't have that. I was in the office. It was like just on the wall, you know.
The difference is we don't work, right? We are there to solely learn. So you learn, I guess, a lot of content quite quickly, because obviously we're going in every day, every week. It's intense, but I think that's just what comes with going to university. You're expected to treat it like a job, like put in the hours that you would put in for a job.
Holly, how did you find, you mentioned that you did your sort of year in industry in the middle. How did you find that, and how did it kind of fit in with the stuff you'd learned at uni?
So basically it's just kind of, they push us to go out there to get some work experience, and it doesn't necessarily fit in with any modules that we've done. We can apply to any area of computer science jobs that we so wish we want to do. I chose cybersecurity because I thought that it was interesting, and obviously I got my job at McAfee, and obviously I learnt a lot of stuff at McAfee. And when I came back and I chose my modules for my final year, I chose cybersecurity as one of the modules. So it kind of like fitted in quite nicely.
That's brilliant, thanks. And so now, what would you say for each of you has like been the thing that you've liked most about your choice? Alex, what would you say is the thing that's kind of been your favorite about doing apprenticeships? What do you like the most about your apprenticeship experience?
Get paid. Nah, basically I'd say one of the benefits of apprenticeships, like Holly was saying then, it's like instead of going out and doing work experience, your whole apprenticeship is a side thing to working. So it's like you're in a placement, but you do your qualification as well. You're not as completely submerged into that educational environment, because I might learn something in the academy and then go to work and solidify that knowledge by testing it, which is always the best way I've learned. So for instance, I might learn a config, and then I'll go into the office and test it and use or get work experience that would then validate that I've learned that knowledge. So I'd say the best part of it was the people, you know. Some of the greatest people that I've ever met was on my apprenticeship. So Phil McCartney, who gave me my first role in network engineering, my first manager, Mark Darnell, you know, we went out the other week and had Jaeger bombs together. You know, it's one of them, like, it's the people as well. The greatest part of apprenticeships is that you are submerged in the professional environment as well. So you become a professional by learning from other professionals, and you gain great relationships, because no matter what, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but you've got to be able to interact with people. We work with people. We don't work with robots all day, you know. So essentially, if you've got, you develop your personality as well. Like, I've come a lot out of my shell throughout my apprenticeships, and now I'm able to lead, lead projects. I'm able to understand the way other people think. There's a lot of psychological benefits to just being just working, and I think Patrick would agree that you're developing a lot more than just knowledge when you're in the workplace. You're developing people skills. You're developing different principles of how you would handle a situation, because no matter what, we all have our good days and our bad days, and you've got to learn how to experience them. You've got to learn how to deal with them. And I'd say the greatest thing is the people. The knowledge and the money and all that's good, but the people who you meet, the people who've helped you grow, is the best part of an apprenticeship for me.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you, Alex. And Patrick, what would you say has been your sort of best bit about your degree apprenticeship? What's been your favorite kind of element for you?
Yeah, just to circle back just a tiny bit, I think when Holly was talking about, I guess, the intensity, and Alex joined in as well, I think because mine's a degree apprenticeship, so mine's a bit kind of different. So I study at the University of Birkbeck, and I also work day to day, and we study a course called Digital and Technology Solutions, which is essentially computer science. And I guess with that, it's a bit different in the sense that it is pretty intense from day to day, and similar to everyone else, there is an aspect of coursework to it, but there's also an aspect of like actual university, sitting in lectures and doing all that. That's why I think I mentioned about the practical aspect of being able to go into work and apply what I've learned in a lecture to my day-to-day role. So yeah, just to add that about the university aspect from a degree apprenticeship point of view. And I think linking that to what I do enjoy, similar to Alex, I think is literally meeting the different people that I do meet. So whether that's from university to work, being able to speak with people. So I'm coming from a sixth form where there's lots of people my age, and I'm coming into a workplace where there's people who are pretty much more or less older than me and have pretty much worked for longer than I've been alive. So being able to speak to them about their different experiences, speak to them about maybe what they're doing on the weekend, hearing about their kids when I'm pretty much a kid myself in a sense. And all of that really adds to the feel of being in the workplace. I'd definitely say the people aspect of things, but I'd also say learning new things. I think it's really, especially coming from a school background, secondary school, sixth form, college, whatever it is. I think being in the workplace and learning things, the learning is kind of different. I think in school, I might be speaking for myself here, but I think it was more so learning to sometimes just sit exams and sometimes just get to the next stage of life or of that year group. But I think being in an apprenticeship and working at a company, it really gives you, I guess, that urge to learn new things outside of your role, within your role. And yeah, the learning aspect is definitely massive. So I definitely say the learning and the people.
Thank you, Patrick. And finally, Holly, what would you say is the kind of best bit about your degree and the university experience?
So I think, it is the people, but the spin on university is the culture that comes with people at university. The fact that you are immersed with people around your own age. Obviously, you get the mature students who come back to do a degree, and they can also come into halls as a fresher in the same flat as you. And the fact that at university you also have clubs and societies. So if you are really good at a certain sport, you can join a club and compete in that sport for your university. And societies are like the academic versions of clubs. And I was lucky enough to be the president of our tech society. So it's given me the opportunity, even before I've gone out into the workplace, to learn how to organise a team of people, to put on events and run an organisation, which I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to do if I didn't go to my university. And the fact that with my tech society, I've been able to go to inter-university coding competitions and hosting my own. And so I've now got friends from universities across the country, and I've been to lots of universities across the country. So it's like the culture of everyone's representing your university. And then from then on, because obviously doing a pure degree, being immersed in it, your university becomes a part of you. Like you're like, oh yeah, I went to Brunel. That's where I came from. So yeah, just the culture of the patriotism towards your university.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And then the last question for all of you is really, if you either were in a position where you were sort of looking back at yourself a few years ago when you were 16 or 17, thinking about your choices for the future, like knowing what you know now, what kind of would you have said to yourself back then? Or what would you say to anyone now who's kind of in that situation, 16, 17, thinking about their choices of the future? Just one kind of piece of advice that you might pass on, really. Start with you, Alex.
So I would say, knowing your interests and hobbies and where you wanna go in your career is so important. Because I knew what I was good at when I was 15, and I had interests as well in psychology, law, physics, all that type of stuff. So I'd done my GCSEs and then, but it all went back. I went on to an IT apprenticeship because I knew I was good at that. I knew I could, get into a really good industry because the IT industry is huge. It's really important to understand what you're good at, what you enjoy learning about, what your interests are. Like Holly, she's interested in robots, coding, software development, cybersecurity. Now it's branched into cyber. So it's one of them. Like Holly's situation, I was a network engineer, worked 4.5 years doing that, and then now I'm in cybersecurity. So it's like some people might just want to go straight into cybersecurity, and there's opportunities out there, there's apprenticeships out there, there's degrees out there, there's Hack the Box, there's certifications, there's all kinds. Continue your development in whatever area it is, and just keep developing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks, Alex. And Patrick, how about you? What's your kind of piece of advice that you'd pass on to someone in that situation now, ready to make their choice for the future?
I'd probably say go out and see the world in a sense, because for me in year 12, I did loads of work experiences, insight days, which are like going to companies, seeing what it is like day to day, and seeing if you'd like it, meeting people at a company, hearing their experiences, and so on. And I think doing that massively helps me in understanding what I'd like to do. So I think because I was in year 12, I had an understanding of the type of things I'd like to do, the type of industry I'd like to be in. So I'd always encourage people to just go out, go to events, meet people. And I think Alex talked about the psychological side of an apprenticeship as well. And I think this also links into that. Going out and speaking to people just gets you used to speaking to people outside of your comfort zone, outside of your age group, and so on. And that can only aid your confidence and help you build as an individual. So I'd always encourage people to just go out and see the things that you'd like to do, or the things that you have an idea of what you're interested in.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Patrick. And finally, Holly,
Yeah.
what would you like to say?
So I think the first thing I want to say is to always stay open-minded. So my AS levels didn't go to plan, so I couldn't go to the universities that I wanted to, like apply to the universities that I wanted to apply to begin with. But I stayed open-minded, found other universities. I looked at apprenticeships and stuff like that, so I knew that there was a pathway for me regardless of what happened with my grades. So yeah, stay open-minded and also make your own opportunities. This is what I say to everyone. Like, people ask me, oh, how have you managed to do so much since being at university? I just reply that I've just gone out and done it, right? I've seen something interesting. I've saw someone on the street, on a train, and I asked them, hey, what are you doing? And then that strikes up a conversation, and that could lead to a business card or anything like that. Like, literally just go out, and because I think a lot of people say, take every opportunity that comes your way, right? People don't give you opportunities out like sweets, right? You have to earn the opportunities, and the really good opportunities are kind of hidden, but they're there. So you have to do a little bit of work for a lot of reward. Yeah, so go out and make your own opportunities.
I think on that point, Holly, as well, it's like, I said this before, take responsibility for your own learning as well. Like, you know, you're responsible for where you want to go in your life. And I think the university really does help one develop their own responsibilities, because you're looking after yourself. You know, I think when I was on my level 3 apprenticeship, I'd moved out, I was living on my own, I was looking after myself. You know, don't get me wrong, I seen family. My nan had always given me a little parcel of food to take home with me. But the reality of the situation is, no matter what, if you go down apprenticeships, if you go down university route, you've got to take responsibility for your own learning and generate them opportunities. But if someone gives you opportunities, then, like that old saying, when you get given lemons, make some lemonade, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think you know, if you're not sure about an opportunity but it interests you, then go for it, because no learning is wasted learning. If you go for it and you realize actually that wasn't the right thing for you, or you know, it didn't interest you as much as you thought it did, then at least you learned something, and at least you learned that. So I think don't worry too much if something, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect and everything doesn't have to be like, this is where my career is going. Try it, give it a go, learn something, and if it is, great, and if it isn't, then you learn that too. So I think, you know, no learning's wasted learning, and no opportunities are wasted opportunity either. Right.
Also,
thanks. Go on
Olivia. Also, I think you saying that's definitely quite important, because I think people tend to forget that we're young. Being young is the best time to try as many things as you want, see if you like it, try all of those opportunities. So I think being young is definitely something that we should all use to our advantage, no matter what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, That's brilliant. Right, thanks all three of you so much for your input today. I hope it's been really useful for everyone watching. I think we've got a really good sort of variety of answers and a great picture of some of the opportunities that are out there for young people in the future. So thank you all so much for your time, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.